Hi guys, welcome to youtube.com/AdamMcKola. I am Adam. This is another MUFC transfer talk. Now for you guys that were hoping to watch this live, apologies. I had to do this a little bit earlier, but for you guys that have joined us live, thank you for tuning in. And today's transfer talk is that Marouane Fellaini could be set for a Manchester United exit. Now Marouane Fellaini's contract expires this summer, and there's been a lot of talk about whether Manchester United will renew or not. Jose Mourinho has wanted Manchester United to renew his contract. He's been talking about keeping Fellaini and how important he is to the team. Marouane Fellaini's kept his cards very close to his chest. He's also come out a few weeks ago saying how he was in a very strong position with Manchester United, which didn't go down well with the fans. But nevertheless, Mourinho wanted to keep him at the club. So if he does leave, it will be a player that Mourinho wants to keep leaving the team. But Marouane Fellaini leaving wouldn't surprise Manchester United fans, and I don't think it will upset many Manchester United fans either, as a lot of them want him to leave the club. Anyway, we'll be getting stuck into those transfer rumours and the reports very, very shortly. But first things first, this video and this month, we are sponsored by OneFootball. It's a fantastic app for all your football news, stats, transfer rumours, transfer news, and much, much more as well. It's a free app. It's available on your Androids and your Apples. There's a link available below. So if you hit that link, it will take you to the Play Store or the App Store. You can download the app for free. And when I'm checking out news and stats and things like that, you can pull your phone out and do exactly the same thing. So download that app. It's absolutely free. And the link is in the description below for the OneFootball app. But first things first, let's talk about Manchester United and Marouane Fellaini. Now, I'm not one of these guys that's going to come out and say, I am delighted that Marouane Fellaini is leaving, good riddance, all that stuff, because I think that's a little bit unfair. I really do think that's a little bit unfair. Despite the fact I don't really enjoy watching him play football, despite the fact I don't think he's a very good central midfielder, he has given us many crucial goals, crucial moments, in his time at Manchester United. And for that reason, when he leaves, it'd have to be like, thank you Fellaini, but see you later, if he leaves. But the reason these rumours have been coming out and have heated up, because his contract expires in June, and AC Milan's chief executive, or whatever you want to call him, has been coming out and saying he's very confident Marouane Fellaini will join AC Milan. There's also talk of him potentially going to Paris Saint Germain. There were reports last week in England and around the FA Cup final day that Marouane Fellaini was selling his house. He had said goodbye to loads of people and he had set his heart on leaving the club. He wasn't involved in the matchday squad for the FA Cup final. And Jose Mourinho counts this guy as one of his important players. We've heard him say it before. Without Romelu Lukaku, we didn't have an aerial presence up top. I'm sure he would have liked to have used Fellaini. Fellaini wasn't used in the matchday squad. So that to me as well hints at even more the fact that Marouane Fellaini is probably leaving Manchester United now. And not just all this talk that's coming out recently. So Marouane Fellaini leaving Manchester United looks like a big possibility at the moment. The reports that are coming out though do say that United are prepared to offer him one last deal in the hope that he still could stay. And Marouane Fellaini could be just posturing for an even better deal from Manchester United, because like he said, he's in a good position when it comes to his contract with the club. We know Michael Carrick has left the team already. We know that we need to buy a central midfielder. And we also know if Fellaini leaves, we need to buy another one. That's on top of the other areas we need to improve. So I think Mourinho, the club, will be looking at giving him an offer. Whether it's good enough to keep him at the club remains to be seen. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a turnaround in this. But at the moment, it does look like Fellaini's leaving. And look, sentiment aside, all that aside, I think it's good for the club if Marouane Fellaini leaves. I think it's good for him if he leaves as well. Whilst it's always okay to have as somebody to bring on and, chuck the ball out as a plan B, as we saw against Arsenal where he came up with the winning goal, and he was very, very crucial in us getting those 3 points that day. We very rarely see him in that position. We always see him in a central midfield position holding, trying to dictate play. And that's not his fault. That's the manager's fault. But where we try to use him, Fellaini's just no good at doing that. He's not someone that can pass the ball, dictate the midfield, all that. He's going to get stuck in. He's going to give 100% effort. But he's not a great footballer with the ball at his feet. And because of that, he's poor in the midfield. And our midfield suffers because of it. And Jose Mourinho has an oversight. And he still selects him in central midfield. We saw that to our detriment against Sevilla. When Marouane Fellaini was selected alongside Matic, and we were poor in midfield. Really poor in midfield. So I think Fellaini leaving and United replacing him with a different midfielder, whilst we will lose that plan B, someone to throw in the box, someone to lump balls at, do we really care about that at Manchester United? I don't think so. And if Romelu Lukaku's fit, then we have got someone that can do that already. And I would just like to see us get 2 midfielders now. Whether Timothy Fosu-Mensah comes back, Andreas Pereira, I'm not too sure. If Fosu-Mensah comes back, I imagine he'll be used at right back. Andreas Pereira, I don't know what's going on there. You look at that and you think, we need 2 more midfielders then. And I think us guys getting 2 more midfielders, we're going to have Matic next season. We're going to have Pogba. Fingers crossed we have Herrera next season. If we then get 2 more fresh ones, I think that would help us a lot. Because when we've been without Herrera and we haven't played a midfield 3, or we have played a midfield 3 and we've played with Fellaini and all that, we've looked poor. So we need to get someone in there that's going to be able to allow Matic to sit, but also act like a goal between Matic and Paul Pogba, because we don't want Paul Pogba playing too deep. And if we can get that perfect goal between, it'd be fantastic. And then another one as well, for squad depth, just like Fellaini gave us. So yeah, what do you guys think about this one? Marouane Fellaini, it looks like he could be leaving Manchester United after all. Now I'm going to get up his season stats on the OneFootball app. Make sure you're downloading the app. The link is in the description below. Now Marouane Fellaini this season played in 16 of our 38 Premier League games, scoring 4 goals. That's a goal in every 4 games he played in. 85% passing accuracy with 77 touches per match. He won 53% of his tackles. He won 59% of his aerial duels. He won 53% of his duels in total. He made 18 defensive clearances in those 16 games as well. Total passes was 393. Touches per 90 minutes, 76. Passes per 90 minutes, 57. And that's where that's lacking for me. I think that has to be higher, your passes per 90 for a central midfielder. But yeah, 2 headed goals, 2 right foot goals, a shot accuracy of 78%, minutes per goal of 153 minutes, which isn't bad for a central midfielder at all. You're looking at 1 every 2 full 90 minutes, which isn't bad. But of course, he wasn't getting many games. You look at that, 16 out of 38 in the Premier League, 3 out of 8 in the Champions League. He got 1 goal in the Champions League. In the League Cup, he played in 0 games out of 3. He played in the Super Cup, but in the FA Cup, he played in 3 out of 6 games. So you're looking at him, and he's played in about half of our matches this season. And for somebody that is at his age at this moment in time, I'm sure he will be looking for somewhere where he can go and get regular football. Somewhere like AC Milan, Paris Saint Germain. I don't know whether he'd get regular football there, but if he was playing in Ligue 1, it'd be a lot easier for him. He'd be playing in a team that's challenging for loads of titles. I don't know whether that one's true or likely to happen, to be honest. But when you look at AC Milan as a potential, and you've got their executives and directors speaking about Fellaini and saying it's possibly happening. You've got Gennaro Gattuso saying that he wants Marouane Fellaini. When they're coming out and making public displays towards the player, they probably seem either like he's probably gone to another club and they're trying to desperately get him, or 2, they're very, very confident of getting him if they're in a position to be speaking about it. And if what we hear is true about him, selling up his house, and well, I don't think he owned his house, to be honest, so he wouldn't be selling it up if that was the case. I believe he rented in Manchester. But if it was his house, or he's given up the property or whatever, said goodbye to people, it does look likely at the moment. But Manchester United are believed to be readying another offer for him as well. Whether it's big enough to keep him or not will remain to be seen. Rooney is the only one at the moment that's been in the comments saying no, not Fellaini. The dream signing would be Verratti, but Fred and Savic would also be good signings, says Dion Davis. Both those players have been linked with the club. Please leave Fellaini. Then Jose follow, says Q, with some strong stuff. What's these rumours of dressing room unrest, says SJ89. And to be honest, I haven't heard anything about that. I've kind of avoided much of the football stuff yesterday, and particularly I wasn't getting involved with football. I had a day out of it. Today I've been looking at a few things, but not been reading up too much on what's been going on. Now, what I would tell you guys to do is take everything with a pinch of salt, because whilst I'm not happy with some of the things Mourinho's doing at the moment, I'm not happy with some of the treatment of some of the players. I'm not happy with the way we're playing football. And whilst I think some of the players could reflect that as well, and probably be thinking those things, I think it's easy for papers to make those things up at a time like this, where Manchester United are in a position where, you know, we've just lost the cup final, we haven't won any trophies this season. Mourinho and Manchester United, big names that generate clicks. I think it's easy to speculate on those kind of things. So I'd just be careful what you'd be reading for us. Do you think Pereira and Fosu-Mensah gets game time next season, says Adam Wilmot. I hope so, particularly with Timothy Fosu-Mensah. Now, Andreas Pereira has been speaking about wanting to come back to Manchester United and play for a future here. Now, obviously, I'm a fan of Andreas Pereira. I haven't seen an awful lot of him at Valencia. I did earlier in the season where he was doing okay, but I know he wasn't playing as much in the latter part of the season. Now, whether he's done enough to convince Jose Mourinho that he could come in, with us possibly losing all these midfield players as well, with Carrick retiring, Fellaini possibly leaving, you look at that and we've got Herrera, McTominay, Pogba, Matic. We need at least 2 more, maybe 3 more midfielders if we're going to play a midfield three. So you're looking at that and you're thinking, okay, who can we bring in? So if we can get 2 players and then bring those 2 guys back. Now, I think Timothy Fosu-Mensah may be used out at right back alongside Antonio Valencia. But Andreas Pereira could be. He could be. Adam, smile. We are still Man United, says Calvin. Mate, of course I will smile. Today we were looking back. It's exactly 10 years ago since United triumphed in Moscow, winning the Champions League, and we were looking back at all that stuff, and we're spoiled as Manchester United fans, but also there's nothing wrong with wanting better, and there's nothing wrong with pointing out maybe where we can go right. I think abuse and, you know, going over the top, and we see some of the stuff with Mourinho having to delete his Instagram account and all that. I don't agree with abuse and abusing people's families and children's and kids and all that. That's out of order. Never get personal. And I suppose that's a good point with Marouane Fellaini. Like, I have been critical of him a lot, but I've also praised him a lot as well during his time at Man. I remember the 2016 Cup final. I was like one of the only ones saying he should start that game because he deserved it on merit. And I've criticised him, I've praised him, but also I've never got personal with him. And that's why when I interviewed him, and people were like, "Oh, Adam, why are you interviewing for Fellaini? You don't." I've never said anything personal about Fellaini. Never ever. Criticised his performance. Praised some of his performances. Mainly criticised, not going to lie. But I never got personal. And if you're a professional footballer, you have to accept criticism. But what you don't have to accept is abuse and all that stuff of your family or your wife or your kids or, you know, whatever. It's below the belt and it's out of order. So I think there's a line that you can never cross. And that's the same with the manager as well. Like, players, whatever. Yes, you can have a little moan every now and then, but there's no need to abuse anybody or, you know, anything like that. Because yes, we love football, passionate about it. We all want United to win, but it is just football as well. You know what I mean? Don't need to be telling people you wish they were dead and all that shit, because that's just bang out of order. Not saying that anyone in these comments here have, just speaking on like the Jose Mourinho thing, some of the stuff with Marouane Fellaini. etc. Anthony says talk about Willian to Man United and Martial leaving. Now, Willian to Man United is something that could definitely happen, I think. We've seen his Instagram post covering Antonio Conte out of the picture, which was very, very funny. I saw him myself leave Wembley on his own. He left around the same time as the players and the players' wives and directors and all that did of Manchester United. So no Chelsea players, executives or anybody had left. He left on his own, which I found very strange as well. And if Jose wants him on that right-hand side, I think he probably will go for him now. The thing for me is, I think we are imbalanced. I think we need someone on that right-hand side. If you're looking at potentially Juan Mata, could he leave? Possibly. If he leaves, that's that position filled. And it gives a little bit more balance to the team. And what does that mean for Martial? I don't think buying a right winger means anything for Martial. But the thing for Martial is, it's funny enough as well, I seen his missus after the game and I was pissed and I was like, make sure Toby don't leave, and she just nervously laughed at me, which I don't blame her at all. But yeah, Anthony Martial, I want him to stay. You guys all know that I want him to stay. I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to leave. He probably sees that his future is better off without Jose Mourinho in it, and I wouldn't blame him for that. But I want him to stay at Manchester United. I think Manchester United is the best club for him. I think his talent is unreal, and I just want him to fight a little bit for his future at the club. Just don't accept it. Don't accept it. Fight for it. Like, because his talent will come through. If he wants to fight for his future here, his talent will come through. What you don't want him to do is go away, he goes to Chelsea, goes to Spurs, then that move fails, or he goes away to, abroad somewhere, Paris Saint Germain, Monaco, I don't know, wherever, and that move doesn't go great for him, and then it's another step down. Like, stay at Manchester United, fight for it. And I know Jose is just a difficult manager to have when you're a player like that, I think. We've always known that. I said it a long, long time ago as well. I hoped it wouldn't come true. It kind of has come true. But I hope Martial fights against it, to be honest. That's what you want from your players. Just fight against it. It's true what Kaz says, though, as well. How much more does he have to fight? Last season, he put in performances. This season, at the start of the season, up until January, he was fantastic. Even some of the games since January, he's been very good when he's come off the bench. He came off the bench against Chelsea. I know he had one poor cross, which he should have done better with. But he whipped in the ball for Pogba's header. And I thought he was one of our most direct players. He was one of our most threatening players. And Jose needs to play him more, I think. But yeah, it's a strange one. You guys know my opinions on this one, and I don't want to keep going over them, because then that's when people start saying, oh, Adam, well, you got an agenda against Mourinho all over because of Martial. Nah, I've said this before. Like, I said this 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that it's now kind of coming true is scaring me. Susan says, if Martial was played regularly, his talent would shine through. I agree as well. Mourinho is always going to have his favourites. Kaz, we need a Paul Scholes to partner Matic, says John. Anyone got a time machine? Ezifnef says he's stopped watching United because he feels the manager insults him. Busy Red Devil Donald says, I don't like what people says to Rashford on Instagram. Yeah, people criticising Rashford. Rashford hurts just like us. Jesse Lingard hurts just like us. Like, when we lose, they feel it just like us. And I feel like you've got to... I feel sorry for Rashford. I feel sorry for Martial. And I know those boys want to play for Man United. Do you know what I mean? They just got to be given that little bit more freedom, I think. Everyone looks scared and tentative. Reminds me of some of the Van Gaal days, which is worrying. Hopefully the summer can replenish it all. But yeah, guys, we're talking about the Marouane Fellaini rumours. Marouane Fellaini looks set to leave Manchester United, although it is believed Manchester United will come in with one final contract offer. AC Milan's president and Gennaro Gattuso, their manager, have been coming out and speaking positively about Marouane Fellaini joining their club on a free contract. He's apparently told family and friends and all that stuff that he's leaving Manchester United. Apparently his property he's now left as well. And it looks like Marouane Fellaini could be leaving Manchester United this summer. He's got a few weeks left on his contract. AC Milan, Paris Saint Germain, whoever you believe. I think Olympique Marseille were also linked with him as well. But there's been linked with a lot of clubs. I'm sure there'll be a lot of clubs looking for him. And it looks like Marouane Fellaini's time could finally be up at Manchester United. What do I think if that is the case? I think it's a good move for player. I think it's a good move for Manchester United. I think we need to move on. I don't have anything against Fellaini personally. I think he's given us some, fantastic moments, crucial goals, etc. But the way Jose Mourinho uses him, when he plays him in that midfield, is fucking annoying. He cannot dictate play. He cannot pass the ball like most other midfield. He's not like that. Use him as a target, yes. But 50% of the time we play him in midfield, and that's not where he should be. So I don't mind this move at all. I'm not going to abuse him. I'm not going to fucking have a party. I'm not going to celebrate. But it looks like Fellaini could be leaving, which I think is the best move for all parties. Nothing official yet. Nothing official until his contract expires, I'm sure. And as I said, United could be trying to get an offer in for him. Marouane Fellaini looking set to leave the club though. Anyway, guys, make sure you are hitting that like button, subscribing and sharing as well. And download the One Football app to keep up with all the latest transfer rumours, football news, match stats, all that jazz. The link is in the description below. The app is absolutely free and you can download that right there. Anyway, guys, I have been AdamMcKola. This has been another MUFC transfer talk. Fellaini could be out. Get your thoughts in the comments below. I'm AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.